I'm going to use this Korn. Korn is ruled by the sun, and the element would be fire. And when we're looking at this from true stages of evolution, I guess we'll use that terminology. You know, fire's going to go all the way back to Saturn. Okay? And if you get in deep enough to knowing the truth, you'll hear a lot of the word like kernel that would have to do with corn or an egg. Because, see, this right here, this corn it never fully developed. So this is also like an embryo. It's protected. It depends on, certain nutrition. Same way an embryo does. And then eventually this, will supposed to do its thing, but it won't. And that's forces. So certain forces this did not get. This didn't get certain forces to produce how this is designed to finish the process of each year. Okay? And we can liken this not only to the embryo, but this right here represents the average human being. Okay? They're spit out into this world, and they're given this. And it's like we've said, okay, the same way sunlight goes in here and everything else and produces this beauty. This is spirit right here. But they'll tell you it's not. It's the same way, like the sun rays penetrating the ground and the air and everything working together to do this. The same way this penetrates the optic nerve and goes in there. The same way this is programmed is the same way that the human goy are programmed. And see, that's the whole thing. When you create humans just like this, okay, you're going to get a negative result. You understand what I'm saying? And see, believe it or not, now, the stage of Earth evolution is over. We're in a decaying process. And we are. At one time, there was nothing that came up that wasn't, it was all perfect. And then, of course, shit happened. So at the end of the Earth evolution, humans showed up, long story short. And what I'm trying to get through to you, this is stages. True. See that 8th sphere? I'm just making this simple. Okay, when a human comes through this realm and is enslaved within their own subconscious, and this is who they represent. So they come through this life and they represent this. They never flourished, they never tried or nothing. But see, they're different because they have a consciousness. You understand? They're connected to that up there and they don't know it. This doesn't have a choice, but the goy does, the humans. So when you upload all these thousands of hours of black magic over and over and over, this is going to represent the brain. So it's mummified with these forces. So when you die, we're in Earth stage right here. You die and all of you go to this fucking black magic demon sphere. Hell. Yeah, it's the truth. And you, listen, what you don't want to accept is I'll be neutral. No, I won't. Jesus has already went through all of it. Christ has. So, but with AI and all this shit, okay, the whole design is to throw you in this sphere, which would be Satan's. If you don't, it doesn't matter what you think or believe. We can prove it all through gematria. So, and you do not have it in you, because of this. This is who you are. So from birth, this is you and your brain. You come through this life and all the forces are black magic within you, and you never fucking blossom or anything. And then you die, and then your soul goes into this sphere. And then you miss all that. And see, that's the thing is these, it's deeper. Okay, that's the whole thing. You can't think this big. Think about billions of souls crossing over with this right here. This is who they represent. Not a full blown corn out the roof like holy shit. None of that. Absolutely none. And it's we'll say energy. Okay, so but this is real. Okay, if you melt gems and shit and stone, whatever, gems and emeralds or whatever, marble or whatever, as you know them, as materialism that's so expensive. If you melt those and you'll go back through the process. Because at one time all of it was in the air. It's not what you think, but you know, like gold, silver, and like liquid, like rain, but it's not what you think. Like celery's real good because it's nitric oxide. And at one time, you know, before the lungs were developed, you know, it was thicker. And Tool references that stage. Out of muddy water you raise the dead. I think it's the Pot song. Yeah. So the muddy waters and all this shit, all stage Saturn. Children of the Corn movie, Saturn. But see, they use it when you create these fucking goy. You know, in their world, it's reversed. Like they're all this fucking, they're a host. And they're being guided by impulses. The same way that this has impulses to create what it's supposed to do is the same way that these impulses creates these goys to do what they're doing. They just dismiss this. It's like this is who they are. They come through the school systems and it doesn't matter, private, all of it. And they don't blossom. And so all those forces, not only do the forces that they upload through this comes out and creates more of this sphere right here, more of them ignoring everything around them that has to do with true spirit is also there too. So you have to think about, like, you can't though. I mean, it's like, it's so big, it's not even funny. You know, and why can't there only be a few to truly see it for what it is in times like this? You know, in your world, you're programmed through this to always say that's in the movies and this. You know, they've taken away you don't understand. This world was set up under satanic gematria. And then they created the alphabets and whatever languages and all that. You do not understand how deep this is. This is essential. Look, there's an entity, you know, like I've said, that like, and the lesser thans can, but I'm talking about like the way you fucking talk on the phone. All this invention comes from the other side and us. So the way you talk on the phone, I mean, they're like literally like, hey, what's up? Like the other side, you know, with, and as far into this evolution that we truly are, there's been a lot of death that they've created. So a lot of souls have crossed over with forces, especially in their 20s, young, late teens and 20s, on purpose, all that energy to go over and then do their fucking, you know, getting more power to enslave the world. So, you know, it's real. there's a reference in Blade Runner when he says we should own the nine world. We should own whatever he says. A child can count to nine on two hands. We should own the stars now. So it's a very deep reference to the initiates, you know. But they've owned, you know, ever since the printing press is dead giveaway. I mean, if you're evil as shit, you would create that. But in your world, it's an invention, so it's materialism. So it's Ahrimanic in nature and Luciferic. Has to do with materialism, with the world. And in Scripture, it says, you know, you can't serve two masters, and we serve possessions here, which is black magic, coerced from birth into this, justified through structures we go to, through black magic fucking demons preaching blasphemy, you know, just leading them straight into hell, into this sphere right here, you know. And they say there's supposedly a reward, you know, for what they do, but there's not. I've said it. There's no reward for them that lead all the congregations. The aggregate of a con, an aggregate is a total whole of the con. Con, we've done videos on. Any word with con before it is a 33 black magic ritual. Demon. You know. That's what it is. The pills have the numbers on them, and those represent demons. And from birth, that's all they've ever had in their system. So, truthfully, they're not even that. They don't even have a seed. They're not even partially developed. From birth, they've been developed with vending machines, you know, plastic wrappers, bottles, plastic. You got to take shit in there that can blow labs up and shit with hazardous chemicals with 80 side effects on every one of them. And you're going to tell me that fucking that's not black magic? When you throw it out there at somebody's face and you lay it out and even show them a life form and say, this didn't finish because it didn't have the proper unseen, you know, power to in the average person, they've been buying chemicals and destroying everything around their house, killing it for weeds and stuff. They're not. They just dismiss this. It doesn't matter. Even if somebody was begging somebody and said, just listen, no, fuck you. Hell no. You don't see my life. It's not fucking real, man. It's not real. They blossomed, but they blossomed from this. From what man made. You know, it's not hard. Once you raise one generation to look down, you'll get the rest of them. And then just pump shit into their ears over and over, and the images over and over, and create the fake money. And then they all feed into it in generations. And then they get what they are. The song, the bigger the river, the bigger the drought. You know, it's true. I think they were going to do it a couple of years ago, and they do their little test runs on their little goy. And here in America, and everybody's fucking stupid, and they said, "Fuck it, let's just hammer down and get some more." Because I was putting in some ovens for Domino's and shit throughout the Southeast and Arkansas, and at once upon a time, and we were below, where was it, Atlanta, maybe. I don't know how many miles, 50, 60, something. But there's some eggs that just popped out of nowhere. Through a fucking Publix up, all kinds of shopping centers, amusement park and all this shit. And the lady, when we were in Publix, she was like, yeah, just a couple of years ago, none of this was around. And it's like, well, no fucking shit. It's funny how they're throwing these hospitals everywhere. Well, fuck out. They're generations into just substance abuse with chemicals. That's what I'm saying. So that corn is not only mummified, but it's mummified with chemicals running all through their anatomy. So it's fucking nothing. It's shit. It's nothing. And any leaders would never allow this in any children's hand. They'd be like, fuck no. That influences them to do evil shit. Fuck no. It's in the kindergarten. It's in preschool. It's everywhere. Are you starting to get it? These are not fucking humans. I gotta eat. I love you.